Ever snapped a quick selfie? You smiling at the camera, like capturing that moment in time. But what if I told you that selfie is a snapshot of billions of years of cosmic history, like in action?
Whoa.
That's what we're going to explore today in our deep dive into planetary systems, how cosmic dust became home.
Sounds pretty epic.
Get ready, because we're about to trace the wild ride from literal cosmic dust to, well, you.
It's a journey that's easy to overlook, in our day-to-day lives.
Yeah.
But the sheer improbability of it all, from a cloud of dust to a planet teeming with life, it really makes you appreciate just how extraordinary our existence is.
Right. I mean, rewind the clock 4.6 billion years, no Earth, no solar system, just this massive cloud of gas and dust floating in space. What happened next is key.
That's where a nearby supernova comes in.
Ooh, supernova.
The shock waves from this massive star exploding actually triggered the collapse of that cloud, setting the stage for our entire solar system to form.
So from a supernova's explosive death comes the birth of something new. I guess that's like the cosmic circle of life. But how do we go from a cloud of dust to actual planets?
It's a process called accretion, and it all starts with those tiny dust grains. We're talking microscopic particles, but they're constantly bumping into each other. Sometimes they stick together, forming bigger and bigger clumps.
Okay.
Over millions of years, those clumps grow into planetesimals, then protoplanets, and eventually full-fledged planets.
Millions of years of dust bunnies bumping into each other. That's a really long time. But it's amazing to think that something as small as a dust grain can ultimately create something as massive as a planet.
It really highlights the power of small things, doesn't it? And it makes you wonder, what seemingly insignificant things today might have huge impacts in the future. It's also worth noting that all that cosmic dust only makes up about 1% of a nebula.
Really?
So even a tiny fraction of that material was enough to build our entire solar system.
That's mind-blowing. It's like finding $1 on the ground and then using it to buy a winning lottery ticket.
Huh?
So we've got planets forming, but what about the essential ingredients for life, like water? Did that just magically appear?
Not exactly. While some water might have been trapped within those dust grains, a lot of it arrived on Earth via cosmic delivery trucks, comets, and icy asteroids.
So we can thank icy space rocks for our oceans. That's not something you hear every day.
It was a bombardment of truly epic proportions. Imagine giant water balloons from the outer reaches of the solar system crashing into the young Earth. These impacts delivered not only water, but also organic molecules, the building blocks of life.
Okay, so those impacts were crucial for turning Earth into a habitable planet. What if those cosmic deliveries had never happened?
Well, just look at Mars. It's a dry, dusty planet with a very thin atmosphere. Scientists believe that Mars might have once had oceans and a thicker atmosphere, but it lost them over time. It's a stark reminder of how lucky we are to have a planet like Earth. Without water, there would be no life as we know it. No oceans, no rainforests, no swimming pools.
No swimming pools. Now that's a bleak thought. I'm definitely starting to appreciate those icy asteroids a lot more. But water wasn't the only thing delivered by those space rocks, right? What about all those shiny things we humans love?
Ah, yes. The bling factor. Believe it or not, those asteroid and meteor impacts also delivered precious metals like gold, platinum, and even diamonds.
So when we wear a gold necklace or a diamond ring, we're actually wearing a piece of space history.
Exactly. And it's more than just a cool fact. Those elements, forged in the hearts of stars and delivered to Earth via these cosmic impacts, have had a profound impact on our technological development. They're used in everything from satellites to medical devices, all thanks to those ancient space rocks.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. But are we about to talk about the fact that we are literally made of stardust? Because that's where I really start to geek out.
It's one of the most mind-blowing revelations of modern science, isn't it? The atoms in our bodies, the very building blocks of life itself, were forged in the heart of stars that lived and died long before our solar system even existed.
It's like every time I look in the mirror, I'm looking at a reflection of the universe's history. Does that ever hit you? We are literally stardust, walking, talking collections of cosmic history. It's almost too much to wrap my head around.
It certainly puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it raises some fascinating questions about our place in the universe. If we're all made of the same stardust, if we all share a common cosmic origin, what does that mean for our understanding of life, death, and our connection to everything around us?
Those are some really big questions, and I think our listener out there is going to want to dive into those with us.
Absolutely. This is where the implications of "we are stardust"
Yeah.
really start to get interesting.
Right.
But we need to unpack this carefully.
Okay, so we've established that, like, we are literally made of stardust.
Yeah.
But what does that actually mean? Is it just like a cool science fact, or does it have deeper implications for how we see ourselves in the world around us?
It's definitely more than just a cool fact. It challenges us to reconsider our place in the universe. We're not just separate, isolated beings.
Right.
We are literally woven from the fabric of the cosmos, connected to every star and every planet by an ancient lineage.
It makes you feel pretty small in a way, doesn't it? Knowing that you're just a tiny speck in this vast ancient universe.
Small, perhaps, but also profoundly significant. Think about it. Every atom in your body has been on an incredible journey, cycling through stars, exploding in supernovae, and eventually finding its way to Earth to become part of you.
Wow.
It's a story of cosmic proportions, and you are the latest chapter.
So if even a tiny dust grain can play a role in creating a planet, what does that say about our own potential?
That's exactly the question posed in our source material. It throws out this really thought-provoking idea. If stardust can create a planet, an ocean, and life itself, what's stopping us from achieving extraordinary things?
It's almost like a challenge, isn't it? A reminder that we are capable of greatness just by virtue of our existence.
Precisely. The universe has already demonstrated its capacity for creating complexity and beauty on a grand scale. Why should we limit ourselves? We have the same potential within us waiting to be unlocked.
That's a powerful thought, but it's also kind of daunting. I mean, it's easy to get bogged down in the everyday stuff and forget about our cosmic potential.
It's true. It's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture. But that's precisely why it's so important to remind ourselves of our cosmic origins. It's a source of inspiration, a call to action. It tells us that we are not just passive observers in this universe. We are active participants with the power to shape our own destiny and the destiny of our planet.
So how do we tap into that potential? How do we go from feeling small and insignificant to feeling empowered and inspired?
I think it starts with curiosity. We need to keep asking questions, keep exploring, keep pushing the boundaries of our knowledge.
Okay.
We need to approach the world with a sense of wonder, remembering that even the most ordinary things are, in a sense, extraordinary given their cosmic origins.
So like next time I'm feeling stressed about work or whatever, I should just look up at the stars and remind myself that I'm made of stardust.
Might sound a bit simplistic, but there's a profound truth in that taking a moment to connect with the vastness of the universe can shift our perspective.
Yeah.
It can help us to see our problems in a new light, to recognize that we are part of something much bigger than ourselves.
It's like suddenly you're not just worried about that deadline. You're part of this epic story of cosmic creation.
Exactly, and that shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating. It can free us from the limitations of our ego and open us up to new possibilities.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a little more cosmically empowered already. But what about the responsibility that comes with knowing our origins? I mean, we've talked about how special and fragile Earth is. Doesn't that knowledge come with a sense of obligation?
Absolutely. Understanding our cosmic origins isn't just about feeling good or inspired. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness with everything in the universe and our responsibility to protect this incredible planet that gave us life.
So we're not just responsible for ourselves, we're responsible for the entire planet, for all life on Earth.
In a sense, yes. We are the caretakers of this planet, the guardians of a legacy that stretches back billions of years. It's a heavy responsibility, but also an incredible privilege.
Okay, I'm getting a little overwhelmed here. I'm just one person. How can I possibly make a difference on a planetary scale?
You're right. It can feel overwhelming. But every action, no matter how small, has a ripple effect. We can all make choices in our daily lives that contribute to a more sustainable future. It's about being mindful of our consumption, reducing our impact on the environment, and supporting initiatives that promote planetary well-being.
So it's not just about grand gestures, it's about the everyday choices we make.
Exactly. Every time you choose to walk instead of drive, every time you recycle, every time you speak up for environmental justice, you are contributing to the well-being of our planet.
I like that. It's empowering to know that even small actions can have a positive impact.
And it's not just about taking action, it's about shifting our mindset. It's about cultivating a sense of awe and reverence for the natural world, recognizing that we are not separate from nature, but an integral part of it.
It's like we're not just visitors on this planet, we're part of its ecosystem.
Precisely. And recognizing that interconnectedness can lead to more compassionate and responsible actions. It can inspire us to care for the planet as we would care for ourselves, knowing that our well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of all life on Earth.
Okay, so we've talked about the wonder, the responsibility, but there's one thing I'm still wrestling with. Some folks might hear all this and think, if we're just stardust, if it all ends anyway, what's the point of anything? Does knowing our cosmic origins make life seem kind of meaningless?
That's a varied question, and one that many people grapple with. But I think it's important to remember that meaning is not something that's simply given to us. It's something we create through our actions, our relationships, our contributions to the world.
So knowing we're stardust doesn't, make life meaningless. It actually gives us the power to create our own meaning. That's pretty profound.
It is, and it ties into something we discussed earlier, the idea of potential. If stardust can create something as complex and beautiful as life on Earth, just imagine what we humans can accomplish.
It makes you want to go out and do something amazing, right? But where do we even start?
Start with what resonates with you. What are you passionate about? What problems do you see in the world that you want to solve? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind?
So it's about finding your own purpose within this grand cosmic story.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that you have a unique role to play in the unfolding of the universe. Just as every star has its place in the galaxy, every human being has the potential to make a difference.
Okay, that's a pretty inspiring thought. So instead of feeling overwhelmed by the vastness of it all, we should feel empowered to go out and create something meaningful.
Precisely. Embrace your stardust heritage. Let it fuel your creativity, your compassion, your drive to make the world a better place.
I love that. So for our listener out there, the next time you look up at the night sky, remember, you are not just looking at a collection of stars. You are looking at your own origins. You are looking at the potential that lies within you.
And don't forget, that potential is not limited to our planet. As we continue to explore space, who knows what amazing things we might discover or create. Perhaps one day we'll even carry the legacy of stardust to other worlds.
And that's a future I'm excited to be a part of. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. We started with a selfie, a simple snapshot of a single moment in time. But as we've explored the journey from cosmic dust to you, we've uncovered a story that spans billions of years, a story that connects us to everything in the universe.
And that story is still being written. What role will you play in its next chapter?